We are recording, and I wanted to go over how to pull CMAs and listing presentations within Bold Trail. Have any of you guys tried that?
Yes.
So with property tax season among us, there's a lot of Facebook groups. People are talking about their taxes are high, this and that. To me, that's a perfect segue to create that opportunity. Hang on one second. Sorry, my little robot vacuum sounded like it was dying. Good morning, Lynn. How are you? Looks like you're in a bus or somewhere.
I'm in a bus. I haven't brushed my hair, so that's not even supposed to be on.
All good. So what I was saying was the CMAs you can pull in Bold Trail are really helpful for lots of things. It helps you put together a really quick listing presentation. It is really good right now for property tax protest season. The Facebook groups are all the chatter. A lot of those are super toxic. I don't recommend spending lots of time in there. But if people are looking for property tax help, a few things we can do based off what we learned with Dr. Blake Bennett. A few of us went to one of his workshops about a month ago, and you can use appraisal district data for the property tax protest and send that back to a client. You can also pull solds. One point Dr. Bennett made in that presentation was, we're not looking for properties sold in April. We know that April is better than January was. We know that the market's kicked up just a little bit since January. So when counties send out appraisal notices and property value notices, that's based on January 1, 2025. So we want to look at more like October through December, and conveniently, that's usually when real estate's a little bit slower in our markets, unless you're working with investors who need to buy by the end of the year. So when you're pulling comps, don't pull comps into 2025, right? It's because it's January 1, 2025 when those valuations are going on. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through how you can pull comps. Obviously, some of you guys are in market areas that aren't as stacked with listings, but that's also good, or closings, but that's also good because it can show that you're in a stale market, that while appraised values are based on market value. So if you're in an area that the market's not moving, that's another reason why you can help people with property tax protests, because you can pull a market report, you can pull your data and show, hey, our market's down 30%. The Texas Real Estate Center in College Station does a really good job of having data. It's going to show you what average price per square foot. It's going to show you average sales, how many sales, supply and demand, and all those things take into account what market value is. I'm not an economist, but each of our markets are vastly different. So we want to use our own data for that. So can y'all see this screen?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay. So this is your main, this is what your main dashboard looks like when you log into your Bold Trail. Hopefully y'all guys have seen this, right? Hopefully you're taking one of our great tools we have and utilizing it as you can. And then we're going to scroll down to marketing. And then we're going to go over here to present. And since we're working with property owners on this, we're going to go basically on the listing side to pull the CMA. I have my daughter's dog and she sounds like an alien. If you hear that, it's not my stomach growling. Okay, so then we're going to click win the listing and hit start. And then we're going to type in an address. Does anybody happen to have a property? Well, I'm in Christopher's Bold Trail, so it has to be simple. I'm going to pull one that I was working with a lady on a Facebook group before here in Seguin. Her property tax value went from 181,304 to 370. So almost $200,000. Her appraised value went up, and it's on a new construction Cracker Jack box kind of house. So you just start typing, and it's going to show you as you pop up all the different options that it can be. Hers is in Seguin. Then you hit next, and then it's going to pop this up. Obviously, we know it's not -4, so you might need to adjust these numbers right here a little bit. Her house is 3,032, built in 2022, 4-bedroom. Sometimes this auto populates, so you just want to double check that and then hit next. And it's going to show you, there's a little key down here. The colors go with sold, pending, active, or coming soon. We really just want to focus for this particular exercise. It wouldn't necessarily do this for a listing, but we just want to focus on solds because that's where the appraisal district's data should be coming from, is sold properties, not what's on the market. So we are going to zoom in a little bit more just to get that neighborhood and make our area a little smaller. So that's the first thing you can do, is really toggle that down right there in the center to isolate the radius. And then you can just start clicking houses around there, add to comps. When you click those, you can also hit more info, and it's going to show you a really cool pop-up. It's going to show you a picture of the house. So it's going to give you listing information. So you can read those and see, okay, does this really align with the home that you're trying to get data for? It's going to show you what it's sold for, price per square foot. They're doing the math for you. So that's another great number to use to help someone with property tax info. So again, we don't want the green ones. We just want the sold ones. And again, add to comps. And you can just scroll through and add as many as you feel like are building your case. There's going to be some that are outliers where you don't want to add those because they're skewed. Working on this one yesterday with Christopher, we feel like the lady actually has a pretty decent price because she's over 3,000 square feet, and to have a $370,000 value really is just a little bit over $100 a square foot, which is a decent price. But just for this exercise, we'll go there. And then you just want to make sure that it has the right type of home, the right bedrooms, so that it's getting the comparables. This auto populates in that first screen, but you can still double check it. Or if you didn't fill it out on the first screen, you can go back. So for this one, I just want 6 months. Since we're not doing a listing, this is just to get data for property tax stuff. We don't want to go back more than 6 months. We just want what's recently sold to try to get that value January 1, 2025. You can also punch in, if you're in a market like Lynn out in Terlingua, there's probably a lot of off-market deals that get sold, or for some reason it doesn't populate. You can also add MLS numbers, or if you've sold something and for some reason it's not pulling it up, you can add manual MLS numbers right there also. So we're going to look this over. Again, we don't necessarily want to select the green ones. And then we hit next, build CMA. And it takes a little bit to pull all the data together. This is the same process you're going to go through for a listing presentation. I just think right now with the time, property tax protests are due by May 15th. This is a great reason to reach out to your sphere. It's a great reason to do a social media post. Y'all are welcome to copy what I posted yesterday on my personal page and make that your own. Having conversations with people that I've quote unquote met through Facebook groups. I had a lady that I was chatting with, that first time home buyer. You know, the third party companies are out there sending out notices that they look very official. They sort of have a Texas state seal looking logo. Their address is Austin, so people think it's state official address. I can actually tell you, it's the name of their company sounds like a governmental entity. She paid over $500 and had to get a form notarized, which when she's like, yeah, I sent in the form, I got it notarized and everything. I was like, red flag, because homestead, you don't have to have that notarized. Let me look it up real quick. Have any of you guys run into that with any of your clients where they've paid some third party because they're getting solicited right after they close on the property.
I've heard of some like current homeowners that have received some of that stuff in the mail. And I was going to ask Lisa, do you have like a template or something that says like, hey, these companies are out there and I can help you out with this. Like you don't have to pay that. Like I can help you navigate kind of the like fighting your taxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't have a form like that, but just a lot of posts and information is really helpful. And then when you're at closing with your client, make sure, like when I was doing closings and I was in title, I would tell them, you're going to get a lot of third-party solicitations. People are trying to make money. Your closing becomes public record and you're going to get hit by a lot of scammers. If you have questions, reach out to me. Because it's about all of it. Like they're going to get stuff on random home warranty stuff that isn't their home warranty and security companies and all kinds of stuff. So the name of the company that solicited her was Homestead Designation Services with an address in Austin. And it has a little seal that looks sort of like a state of Texas seal. And so she just saw that and thought that's what it is. We need to make sure that we are the ones sending out that homestead paperwork to our clients so that they know that they can trust us. I know, Leanne, did you get your letter sent out to your closings from last year? Yeah, this lady, the trigger for me was that it got notarized. I'm like, no, you got the wrong form. And then when she sent me the form, I was kind of blown away because nobody told her. And she bought a new build at a new community, which also means it was probably a builder rep. And Junie, dogs, God dang. Those builder reps also have their own title company. They just want to close homes. They're not educating clients. They're not helping. So that's also a reason we can sort of turn that script around and educate. Yes, you want to buy new construction, great, but you also need an advocate because those builders have the builder rep, the builder title company, and the builder lender. How much transparency and like fiduciary responsibility does that builder have to that client? They just want to sell a house. They don't care about all the other stuff, which is why I think this lady kind of got scammed because she really didn't know. She didn't have an agent working for her best interests.
Lisa, while we're on here, I close tomorrow on it's not zero lot, but it's in a neighborhood, small yard. The house is 4 years old. What should I make my clients aware of as far as what they're going to get?
Yeah, unless it's official. What county is that in? Is that Travis?
Williamson County.
Yeah, I would just say unless it's Williamson County Appraisal District or official state business, or just call you if they have questions. They're going to get a bunch of solicitations in the mail.
Okay.
And every form you file through our government is, well, not every form, but real estate related is free. Homestead's free, ag's free, wildlife is free to file. Now you can always pay somebody to do that for you if you choose, but that's only if you choose. I mean, heck, filing taxes is free, right? But we usually pay someone to do it for us. So just be there and walk them through it. And hopefully the title company will do a great job representing that too. A lot of people don't understand what homestead exemption means. I was telling you guys one time, this person that moved in with the military thought a homestead meant he had to have like a cow and chickens and have a homestead. He didn't realize what that meant. So especially for buyers that are moving in to Texas, the rules they have in their state are going to be way different. Our property taxes are way higher because we don't have a state income tax. So helping our clients navigate that process is a really crucial part. I'd highly suggest y'all write a blog or make a post or, repeatedly to get that through. So let's go back to this. It's going to have different clickable buttons. These again are going to have pop-ups. There's usually going to be a pretty high outlier, they call them, and you can delete those from your search. So you can just hit delete. And again, this works great for listing presentations too. It is a listing presentation, but for here, what's cool is instead of giving the whole kit and caboodle, you could just hit save CMA only. You can send this to them digitally, or you could download it as a PDF, and then they can attach it. I don't necessarily want you guys to be the ones, quote unquote, fighting their property taxes. We can just provide information. You can send a letter to the client. You can use Chat GPT to write it. Hey, here's my here's the comps that I found in your area. It's going to break it all down. They can click those little windows open. You can make them a little chart that you include on Excel with a breakdown. All those things are helpful. But you can see here, her taxes were 370 proposed. This came back with 344. We could take more time and really chip away and throw out some of the higher range. But here's what it's showing for that area. Square footage is 135. Well, that's actually higher than what she has. So she might want to consider not filing. But that's up to her. You actually don't have to provide comps to file. What Dr. Bennett talked to us about a few months ago was just submitting the form without providing data right away, and just filling it out. And we can share those slides that we received that day too on how to actually fill out the property tax protest. Have any of you guys used this tool before to pull comps, and what kind of information are y'all finding?
I haven't really done it for property taxes, so I'm glad I'm learning about that. But if I'm showing, especially a bunch of houses like residential in town, it's super easy. Like if I have 7 of them lined up for the day, I normally get in the house while my clients are kind of walking around and get into this and pull up all the comps in the neighborhood. And it's like a super easy way while we're standing in the house to be like, okay, this is what it looks like. Here's the comps. This is what it's going per square foot. This is what they're asking. And especially whenever it comes to time to like make an offer, it's a super valuable tool.
I love that. And if you're going to do the listing, I like too, because you can show them what their competition is, right? Like we all have the client that's like, oh, my house is the best in town. I'm like, okay, well, here's what's currently on the market, and here's the condition, and here's the, you can just click through on a tablet or iPad or whatever and show them right there, okay, this is what your competition is. And you can show per square foot. You can also put together a presentation on your own differently, but in just a few minutes, we were able to pull lots of data. It looks really professional. It has it all broken out. So yeah, year built, all that good stuff. So then we're gonna go back. And if you haven't done this for your listing presentation, we'll just hit create presentation too. You can customize it. You can just include certain pages. There's different themes you can pick, so it'll change the font a little bit. And then you can do present and share. So if you're with a client, again, you could just have this on a tablet. You can download and print it, or you can hit copy and text it or email it to them. I haven't tried because I don't have access to Dotloop, but you can add your listing docs and all the things to it too. You can add a video link. If we just want to open the presentation, this is what you could walk somebody through right there on your tablet or laptop. And not everybody's going to want the digital version, but if you're dealing with someone in like an out-of-state owner, this is a great way just to email them something. A lot of people right now are probably asking y'all for like broker opinions or CMAs. Super easy way to knock out a bunch at one time. Y'all have any questions on any of that? Do y'all want to do another one?
Yes.
Okay.
I know we've talked about it before, but I'd love to see something like this for land and ranch. It'd be super beneficial.
Wouldn't we
Exactly.
all? Yeah, until land.com integrates and land agents put listings on the MLS, those are things we can't control, right? If they're on MLS, it will pull data. But so many land properties are not. So many land agents do not post their properties. There's so many out of pocket, under the table, all the things. Let's see. I have some other addresses. This was another one that a friend of mine reached out to that I have information on. The first thing I would do is make sure that your client has all their correct valuations and exemptions filed. A lot of people, the new owners, just don't know that they need to file that. They also don't know you have to reapply for wildlife every year. So you can see this house pulled the accurate information. A lot of that depends on the county and how things are recorded. There's a ton of properties. I mean, this market saturated this house is in Universal City. Last week we talked about market area expertise. When you're looking like my area, we have Shirts and we have Universal City. They're separated mostly just by the Cibolo Creek, which is the county line between Bear and Guadalupe. I know a lot of you guys have properties like Kendall and Kerr. When you're taking buyers around, we need to make sure that we are familiar with the tax rate. This is one of my friend's sons. He's a firefighter in that area, and he bought a home in Universal City because of the sales price. He was not coached that his property taxes are over $1,000 a year more because Bear County has the Alamo College taxing district and it has Saul's taxing district. So just from crossing over the Cibolo Creek, he's going to be paying $1,000 minimum a year more just for taxes. So if he would have bought the same size house, that would have saved him, roughly $100 a month. Is that a deal breaker? Not necessarily, but for some people that are barely qualifying for their price point or living paycheck to paycheck, those kinds of things can make a difference, especially long term, because you're going to be paying that for the life of the home, right? So if you're in that home for 30 years, that's $30,000 that you're going to be paying just in extra taxes alone. And then Guadalupe County's base tax rate is also lower than Bear County, just on the county and city side. So make sure that you know the difference in your areas. MUDs and PUDs and all those things, depending on where you are, also add more tax basis. So you can see here that there's quite a bit on the active market and not as many solds. But that's actually good because we can show that it's more of a stale market. So I hit next and it's pulling, it didn't pull any solds. Let me go back. We're going to hit add to comps, the solds, and those are the ones outlined in red. And then also look at the closing date if you're going to include it. See, this one just closed March 27th. You don't necessarily have to pull that if you don't want to, and you can go back further because we just have it at 6 months right now. So you can go back and adjust your closed date. So you can see now it adds that. It did put a pending, which is okay because that pending's low. Going to show you again how long are things staying in the market, what's your average price per square foot. Great presentation. And when you file a property tax protest, you don't have to include all this. You can just fill out the basic protest. I just want to apply. I'll share the slides later of how they want you to fill out each of those forms, and then you can take it from there on that. And so here it's saying 291, and his appraisal came back at 265. So I wouldn't necessarily use the real estate side. I would look at the comps on CAD. And what I've done on CAD, I was working with McKinsey the other day, and we did one for Kristen's client in Vintage Oaks, is I just made a little spreadsheet like this, which don't let it overwhelm you at all. All I did was pull all the neighbors in the area and tried to find ones with price per square foot that was lower than hers. So 1022 Province Place is $127 lower per square foot. So to me, that's showing that her home is priced way higher. So they have a leg to stand on. This is appraisal district. So I just went in address by address and started plugging information in. And then it breaks down the home value and the land value. And then I took the acreage and just divided it and did the math on what it is per acre. And you can see that her home that she has listed is here, but there's much lower in the area. So I would recommend that they file a protest because there's comps that an appraisal district has assigned values to, which using their own information against them to me is a slam dunk. It's not arbitrary, right? You've said a property in the same street with relatively the same age of homes, the same geographical conditions, the same area, all the things have a value of 150,000, but yet we're at 198. So these are all things to consider. You could just attach that. Like if you pulled the comps for solds and you feel like they're not accurate or really good, just go back in the appraisal district and pull that data. Haven't any of y'all pulled data like that before on the appraisal district? Everyone needs to be super familiar with your county appraisal district. It has so much information. Also double check if you're going to do any posting about taxes, make sure that your county has the same dates. Each county has the same range, but I checked one yesterday for Atascosa County. They haven't even mailed out their appraisal district notices yet. They're supposed to be mailed by April 30th. And then they have till May 15th. So a lot of them haven't received their notices at all.
Yeah, Lisa, I appealed in Kendall County a couple of years ago and did the same thing you just did with that spreadsheet and had a successful result. They lowered it back down for tax purposes a good bit.
Yes, I always like when you're fighting any battle in life, using whoever you're up against own data and words against them. They can't argue those. It's like, well, if this is your stance, then we're just going to fall in line with that. So this is Kristen's client. You can see they have homestead exemptions filed, so that's good there. You're going to see that they have the homestead reduction. You also want to make sure that the market value that they include the $100,000 off the basis that passed, what, 2 years ago, where you get $100,000 off the market value that you're taxed on instead of the straight line item. And then always double check. It should say, Guadalupe County has a place where it says taxes with and taxes without, but I don't see that here on Comal County. It'll show you what the taxes are without the exemptions. And that's helpful if you have a buyer who's wanting to buy a home or property that currently has exemptions, but you know that they don't fall on those. You can show them what their taxes will be when those exemptions fall off. So if someone's buying a rental property and it currently has homestead, that will roll off when the past owner's homestead rolls off. Some people get really surprised. Well, you told me the taxes were $5,000. Well, that's because they had ag and homestead, right? Welcome to Texas. But yeah, I just use data and then you can hit the interactive map. And then that's how I pulled all the neighboring properties, or you can just go pull by the street. And not every county's website looks the same. So get really familiar with yours. Yeah, I just started clicking all of them around there. And you can just click a neighbor. This looks like it's an empty lot. But I like the empty lot because it gives you a really good square footage of raw land that you can plug into your spreadsheet. And then again, you just pull that data and populate it to that Google sheet. So kind of using both helps out. This is also good for your own home. So hopefully everyone's applying and doing the same thing. To me, it's free. What's the worst thing they can say? No. It gets you in really good practice for when you're helping clients. Again, I wouldn't necessarily be your client's agent. You can actually fill it out for them and be their agent. There's a form you have to sign for that. I would just provide data and be a resource to your client to get in those comps. So anybody have any questions on that? Well, if y'all are welcome to take my posts that I posted yesterday. Those were just all things that people have asked me about lately that have reached out for tax help. Feel free to use that. I'm happy I think I shared in our drive. There already is a what did I call that? There's already a folder in there called agent content. There you go. Oh, y'all can't see my screen, can you? Hang on. So if you go to agent content in the shared drive of your Google Drive, you'll see, I think I already created property tax value information, property tax post. So there's already some content in there you can go grab. And there's already the worksheets on how to do the protest. That's already in your drive. But I'll reshare this. There's already kind of a
Very
suggested post that you can copy and paste. And of course, this was ChatGPT's help. So yeah, just go in and grab those, copy, change them, all the things. Let's go back. There's another one for important dates. There's a blog you could do if you haven't done a blog on it. And here's another post you can do. So I will share a link to this drive in our group page now so that y'all can have an easy direct line to that. All right. Well, that's what I have. Y'all give me a call if y'all have any questions, or if you have a client that has a scenario you want just an extra set of eyes on, reach out. I'm happy to help. And then poke around in this drive too I'm building. Hopefully it's just the start of a lot. Once April wraps up, I'll do some April videos, some market reports, different things to add to it. But this is just a starting point of a little library of things y'all can go in and grab. Awesome. Well, y'all reach out if y'all have any questions. I'm here to help.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you,
y'all.
man.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Lisa.